Welcome back to another Heroclix narrative campaign brought to you by One Mind Syndicate. I am your host Gursh One, and today we're going to start the Spider-Man Heroclix campaign. Now, what we're doing with the Heroclix narrative campaigns is because we're creating our very own worlds, we are creating universes within them, because I'm pretty sure that not every single narrative campaign is going to fall in the same universe. For this universe, I am deciding to create the M1 universe from now on. So in this universe, Spider-Man exists like he normally does. He went through all the things that he normally did in the regular comic book universe. He lost his Uncle Ben, he lost his two parents, all that jazz. And now we're picking up from a point where Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for quite some time. But before we get into the Peter Parker story part about Spider-Man, I want to lay out some backstory to better understand what's going on in this universe. There's a child by the name of James Johnson who is around 11 years old, and he grew up within the inner city. Normal kid, like every other kid. He collects comic books, he plays with action figures, pretty much everything normal that any kid his age would play. Now, he has a mother and a father. He is the only child. His father works construction, and one day he wants to go out and play some basketball with his father. Unfortunately, his father is very, very tired, and James keeps pushing his dad to go play basketball with him because that's what he really wants to do. It's a Friday, and that's what he, wants. That's what he's been thinking about doing throughout the entire week. So finally, James persuades his father to go play basketball with him, and on the way they play basketball. Everything is good. The basketball is, of course, a public basketball court, and they, like most people, they put their phones and stuff off to the side of the court while they play basketball. During that time, there is a guy who's kind of suspicious looking. He goes over pretending to pick up something near where his father left his phone on the side of the court, and he snatches the phone and he just shoots off running. And of course the dad chases after the thief, and James chases after his dad. And then the dad finally catches up to the thief, and he pushes him down. He's about to take the phone away from him when the thief pulls out a gun and boom, shoots James' dad straight in the chest. Now, the ambulance cannot get there soon enough, and James's dad passes away. He dies on the spot before the ambulance can come, and of course James is just filled with grief because not only is his dad dead, but at the same time he's the one who persuaded his dad to go out there on that Friday night to play basketball, which led up to his death. So he is devastated, and that translates to anger within him. He actually goes out and he purchases a gun, a small handgun, because he wants revenge against this thief. So he goes from basketball to basketball court. He knows what the guy looks like. He finds the thief playing basketball in a court nearby. He wants to make sure that the thief is the guy who killed his father, and then he finally verifies that. And the night they keep playing basketball, and it's towards the end of the night. Everything seems normal, but James, he's hiding that gun on his side waist, and he's just waiting for the right moment to pull the gun and, of course, kill the guy. At this point, he doesn't really care if he gets caught or not. All he wants to do is get revenge. And as everybody is leaving towards the end of the night, it's only him and like a couple other guys. James realizes that the thief is leaving, and as he's leaving, he's walking towards an alley, and James thinks this is the perfect time for me to strike. So James follows the thief, and somehow James manages to grab a broken broomstick. And as the thief is walking down the alley, dribbling his basketball, James comes up behind him, sticks the broomstick in between his feet. The guy falls over. James runs above him and just starts pistol whipping the guy. His intention is to kill him, but of course he wants to, get revenge. He's angry, so after pistol whipping him a bunch of times, he pulls a gun on him, and he's about to kill this thief. And of course, Spider-Man was watching as James followed this guy into the alley. Now, Spider-Man sees that James is the one doing the wrong deed. So when he sees James pull out the gun and point it at him, Spider-Man is ready to shoot his webs to stop him when all of a sudden nothing happens. James doesn't pull the trigger. All he does is he steps away and he lets the thief run away. Of course, Spider-Man isn't gonna let this kid carry around a gun, so he stops him and he asks him what's wrong. And of course, James, crying at this point, explains everything to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is touched because they're kind of in the same situation. Spider-Man lost his uncle, James lost his father, and they form a bond. But the thing that really strikes Spider-Man's heart was the fact that James didn't kill the thief. He had him right there. All he had to do was pull the trigger, but he didn't. And later on, he finds out that the reason is James is an extremely kind-hearted individual. He has been influenced by his mother so much that he kind of understands what Spider-Man's uncle taught him, that with great power comes great responsibility. So James understood this even at a younger age than Peter Parker himself, so they form a strong bond with each other. And surprisingly enough, Spider-Man allows James to keep the gun. He feels at ease with James carrying the gun because he understands the responsibility of power. Spider-Man keeps an eye on James, but they form a really strong bond, and he just falls in love with James and his family. And it's all good until James's mother gets kidnapped. Now, a kidnapping is not a crime that Spider-Man sees very often. It's not often at all in his city. So this kidnapping is very, very strange. Number one, there was no sign of struggle. Number two, nothing was stolen. And number three, absolutely no clues as far as why this happened or where James's mother is whatsoever. And of course, Spider-Man is in touch with James almost every day, and it's just devastating James. Spider-Man had to take the gun away because James was just a different person. He was becoming a different person, of course, without his mother. Absolutely no leads, not even from the police officers. They could not find James's mother. Her name was Julia. Until one day Spider-Man picked up a signal from one of the police officers. The message was that they might have found James's mother. So of course, Spider-Man dashed towards Julia to save her. He was in an abandoned warehouse. And that leads us to our very first battle report in this Spider-Man HeroClix narrative campaign. Spider-Man gets to the factory. He finds Julia. The factory is completely empty, and he doesn't really know what's going on. Julia is knocked out. She's tied up. And as he's going towards her, spider senses start tingling, and he looks back and he sees the Avengers. We have a total of 5 Avengers coming towards Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man's happy. He is a little confused to see that many Avengers coming to a call like this, but he's happy to see them. And as he starts walking towards them, out of nowhere, the Thing, which in this universe he's an Avenger, he picks up a giant machine and just throws it at Spider-Man, nearly hitting him and nearly killing Julia. So now Spider-Man dashes back to protect Julia. He doesn't know what's going on with the Avengers, and then the Avengers are attacking Spider-Man. So that's what's going to be our very first battle report. It's a cool scenario. We have to protect Julia. So the Spider-Man player is just playing as Spider-Man, and he is protecting Julia against the 5 Avengers. Now, there's something weird about these Avengers. Of course, to you guys, I can tell you what's going on. The Avengers are actually Mysterio clones. They are 5 of them. One of them is the true Mysterio. They're all hidden, or they all have the appearance of Avengers, and it's up to Spider-Man to find out the true Mysterio, take him out, defend Julia, and at the same time not die from these 5 Avengers who are attacking him. And of course, this is a really cool way to play with the Mysterio piece. that I have, because it has a special dial where the clone is only worth, I think, 15 points, and the real Mysterio is worth like somewhere between like 40 or something points. So a total of 130 or 125 point battle where Spider-Man has to do those 3 things, while Mysterio, or the Mysterio team, has to either kill Spider-Man or take out Julia, and then at the same time the real Mysterio can't die. So that's what we're going into. That's going to be the first battle report. You can click that right over here, and that's going to take you there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. This was Gursh One with One Mind Syndicate signing out.